Welcome back to the Indianapolis Arrows franchise. It's been a couple of days, but we are back here in this series as we start the month of June. We are 33-25 and pretty much chasing the Guardians. We are right on their heels, though. We have shown so far in Season 4 that we can beat them. We are 11-7 in the division. The Guardians are 12-7. And just stepping up from the previous 3 years, we are top 20 in batting average, and we're not too far off from being top 15, to be honest with you. I think we're just right there. And we are top 2 in ERA, and look who's number 1. It's the Guardians. So, I mean, we are right there where we should be as far as competing here in the AL Central and in the AL wildcard as well, if we do go that route. And you could just see, here are what the teams look like here on the AL wildcard and in the NL wildcard. I mean, there are still a ton of teams rebuilding, and it kind of gives me an idea here to who we should look at here before the trade deadline, and maybe even add a guy early. Usually we wait till the trade deadline to make trades, but maybe adding a guy before that would be an option. A couple of teams, the Nationals are rebuilding still. Vinny Pasquantino is an option. He has actually been very, very good so far in this series. Hit 297, 278, and now this year 275. He could be a guy we can look out for, and he is a first baseman though, so we'd have to make a big move as far as moving Paulo Reyes either to left field or to the DH spot. Joey Meneses is another option. He is 33 years old. He has a $1.2 million contract, and he's due arbitration for the next couple of years. He's hitting 264, but he hit 30 home runs last year, so he could be a guy to possibly drive in some runs. I would be interested in Seiya Suzuki, but he has a huge contract right now, so that's definitely probably not on the table. But Christian Walker from the Cubs is interesting. He's owed about $6 million, and he is hitting pretty well, 279 and 200 at bat so far. He's an option. I would go after Christian Yelich too, but he's due a ton of money, and he is locked in as a Brewer unless they release him or something. That's the only way we would kind of go after him. They do have some other young players like Bryce Terang. They are in a true rebuild. They are last in their division and probably looking ahead to the future. So in today's episode, what I want to do is get through the month of June, playing the first game in every series in the month and see what happens. And we could just see a little bit of everything here in this episode. So here we go. Here is Salvador Perez, who we signed in the offseason this season. He's playing in the first year with the Arrows. He gets a pitch to hit, drives this one deep to left field versus the 30-30 Tampa Bay Rays, and he goes deep for a 2-run shot here to left field. One thing I love about Salvador Perez is that he does add that necessary power in the middle of our lineup, hitting up probably at the 4, 5, or 6 spot in the lineup. That's where he's going to fluctuate, and if injury happens, he could move up to number 3, but I like him in this lineup. And Steven Benitez comes up here in the 8th inning. He swings and misses on a pitch low versus Taj Bradley. But we do get the victory here, 7-4 here at home to start off this episode. Jordan Montgomery gets his 8th win on the season. He is 8-1. He is likely headed to the All-Star game once we get there. So we do win 2 of 3 on the road here, or at home, I should say, versus the Tampa Bay Rays. And now we play against a team that is rebuilding. This is an interesting game here because I want to focus in on one player I am looking at the trade deadline, and that is Akil Baddoo. Now, we saw Steven Benitez just come at bat. He could be a possible trade chip in a trade to acquire a veteran player. Akil Baddoo is now 27 years old. One thing I love about him is that he has a high clutch rating at 90, his discipline's at 75, and he actually has pretty good fielding attributes, and he could be a contributor probably in left field. And just looking at his numbers, he's hitting actually really, really well this year. He's got a 375 on base percentage. He is slugging at 443. He's hitting his career high in OPS at 815. Hitting 279. The funny thing is he's got 7 stolen bases, caught 7, so probably not going to be trying to swipe some bases with him. But still, I mean, this is very, very solid for a player that probably won't cost us a ton. So I want to see what he can do here versus Todd Workman. And Workman's having a great season. 1-2 pitch versus Akil Baddoo, and he will swing and miss. He was 1 for 1. He comes to the plate right there and swings and misses at that one. But I do want to see another at-bat from him. But Workman's actually pitching extremely well. I mean, he is been probably the second best pitcher so far, maybe third behind Jose Urquidy and Montgomery in this rotation. As we move on to Willy Adames, who is also another trade chip I want to look at. And that at-bat right there is his career hit number 1,000. But he is a guy to look out for. But he is a little bit more expensive than what Akil Baddoo would be. So those two are definitely guys that I want to look after. Tyler Soderstrom comes to the plate, and he hits one deep to left center field, and that one will be run down by Ojo Taikan. He took a long path to get to that one, but we do get out of that inning. 3-2 late in this game. Reynaldo Lopez in the pitch against Akil Baddoo once again. He is 2 for 3 at this point, but I do want to see what he can do at the plate here. 1-2 pitch again, and he grounds out to third base. There's Benitez. Those two could be traded for each other. Who knows? I'll probably need to throw in another piece to get Baddoo, especially since we're going to be buyers at the trade deadline now instead of sellers. As we move on to the ninth inning, Archie Bradley gets the save here in this one. He's been pitching excellent so far this year. It seems like every other year Archie Bradley's having like an all-star year. We get the victory in that game. Unfortunately, we actually lose 2 of 3 versus Oakland. That's 2 bad losses versus a team that is probably the worst in baseball. So we drop 2 of 3 there, but we move on to this Arizona Diamondbacks series. Is now we see a new guy up in the lineup. Remember last episode we moved him up. It's Pat Washington. He comes back to the MLB level. The base is loaded here in the top of the 4th inning. He hits a ground ball to second, but the second baseman cannot handle that one, and that one would have ended the inning. Instead, it's an E4, and we tie this ball game up at 1 apiece. That brings up Keith Rice, who is kind of up and down here in his second season at the MLB level, but he swings and misses there at the outside slider. Ray Gonzalez up to the plate. He is 1 for 2 so far in this game as we hop into the 8th inning. He's already went deep once. He's 1 for 2 with men on first and second. Down by 3. He watches that one. And now he has a very favorable hitter's count, 3-1. No outs in this inning. He gets one low in the zone and drives this one deep to right field. This one's back at the wall, and it is gone. Ray Gonzalez, the kid, hits one to opposite field, and that is going to be a 3-run shot here to tie this ball game up at 6 apiece. That's what you want to see from your future cornerstone. He is turning into a very good hitter as this season goes on. He's hitting more home runs, and that's exactly what you want to see from him. I thought that he would not be a power hitter at all, but now he's showing off the power all of a sudden in his second full season. So here is Pat Washington now in the top of the 8th inning. No out still, as that does draw a walk for that at bat. Then he goes ahead and swipes second. This is the value that I thought Pat Washington would initially bring in this series. You know, be a leadoff hitter, get on, swipe second. It's Keith Rice now at the plate. Hits one to opposite field. That one's right to the second baseman. This time he holds on to it. And now 1 out. Ian Happ gets a pitch inside, turns on this one. That one's going to get all the way to the wall, and it does bounce over the right field wall for a ground rule double. And an RBI there for Ian Happ late in this game. A nice little comeback here for the Arrows. Ojo Taikan comes up with 2 outs, and he hits a blooper to left field, but this one does get run down. But we do end up winning this game 9-7 after a nice little comeback there. Even though we give up 14 hits to the Diamondbacks, that still isn't enough. Archie Bradley gets yet another save here. And how about Ray Gonzalez? 3 for 4 with 3 home runs and 7 RBIs. He is now flashing that big-time potential we saw in him back in Season 1. We drafted him number 9 overall. We said he was going to be the cornerstone piece of this series. He hasn't quite, lived up to maybe that number 1 pick that we had, but now in Season 4, he's really starting to flash, and it looks really, really nice. So we do win 2 of 3 versus the Cardinals, so we steal 2 on the road, and now we move on to this next series where we face one of the best teams in baseball in the Los Angeles Dodgers. Ojo Taikan leads off today. He's hitting .275, so I want to see what he can do at the leadoff spot and move Keith Rice down in the order and see what happens. Here is Ojo in his first AB facing Zach Gallen, who signed a big free agent contract with the Dodgers. as that brings up Alex Verdugo with 2 outs, hitting .281 on the year, and he will watch that one for ball 4. Paulo Reyes has his average up to .297, which would be a 50-point improvement if the season ended today from last year. He swings that one inside, just a little bit late on that fastball, and it's a pop-up in the infield, and no damage done in the first inning. Let's check out Ray once again. He's hitting .281. Like, he is having an excellent season at the plate, but this time the runner is on the move from first, and actually a good play there because Ray Gonzalez hits a chopper to third, and that one would have been a double play. But Guillorme goes to first base, and we get the first run of the game. Jack Suwinski comes to the plate in a nasty knuckle curve up in the zone, and that will be a swing and miss from Suwinski. We fast forward on to the top of the 9th inning. The Arrows are down now 4-1, and here's a double play ball here for Gavin Lux to short, but for some reason the shortstop cannot hold on to that one during the exchange, and they do just get the force out at second. Paulo Reyes comes to the plate, and he hits one well to right field, but this one just hangs up in the air for the second out of the inning. And now we're down to our final out here as that brings up Salvador Perez, who's hitting pretty decently, but 0 for 3 today. He hits one well to the left side, and one thing you know about him, he hits the ball extremely hard. That gets through the infield. So we are not done in this one here. Bottom, next batter up, top of 9, Seth Beer, 2 outs, 2-1 count here. Evan Phillips looking for the save, and Seth Beer misses that one. Now 2-2 pitch. This one's low in the zone, and Seth Beer drives this one deep. That's gone. With one swing of the bat, Seth Beer ties it up here in the top of the 9th inning. We have not seen Seth Beer really make an impact since season number 2 when we signed him to a 3-year free agent deal. And he comes through right there to tie this ball game up. What a swing from Beer. We moved him up from AAA. Last year he played the entire season at AAA. We did not move him up once, but this year we decided to give him a chance at an MLB roster spot. He's coming in spots, and he comes through right there. So bottom 9 now, but the Dodgers could win it right here with Luis Guillorme at the plate. He hits one to first, on to second, on to first. It's a double play. This one's going to extras. Seth Beer comes in the clutch, and now we move on to the top of the 10th inning. Jack Suwinski up at the plate, facing Yancy Almonte at the plate. He hits one well to center field. This one gets to the right center gap, and it will score one. Suwinski is on the move on this play, and he makes it all the way to third, and that's an RBI triple to give the Arrows the 5-4 lead in the top of the 10th inning. Suwinski had, remember, a career year last year. He hit .290. He had his career high in home runs as well. That brings up the top of the order. Oijo Taikan comes through with a base hit single to left field, and that one will be an RBI. I like Oijo Taikan with that leadoff spot. I like the way he's hitting the ball, and it might be a permanent role for him in the second half of the year. Archie Bradley comes in now, and he finishes it off here. He gets the win, not the save this time. But we get the 6-4 victory here at Dodger Stadium, a very big win for the squad, despite only getting 6 hits to their 11. So we end up actually winning 2 of 3 on the road versus the Dodgers, one of the best teams in the whole entire league. And we are rolling here to start the month of June. We now face the Texas Rangers, who are 32-42. They are definitely underachieving, and they are going to need a very big second half of the year to come back and really compete in that AL wild card if they want to. We'll see what happens. But here we face them at home here in the 3-game set, and here's Cole Winn for the start here, but he loads up the bases here in the bottom of the first inning. We're down 2-0. Here's Oijo. He hits one hard to the right side. He's hitting down in that 5 spot. I want to fluctuate where he hits in the lineup just to see where he hits best, but that one's a line out to first. Salvador Perez comes up in the 6th spot with 2 outs. This one's deep to right field. It gets all the way to the wall. It will score 1. It scores 2. We will try to score. Paulo Reyes from all the way from first, and he will make it. An RBI, a 3 RBI double here for Salvador Perez. And we take the 3-2 lead already in the first inning. Perez, like I said, hits the ball hard every time at the plate. He comes through right there. Here comes Cam Collier to the plate, the 21-year-old third baseman now, hitting .251, OPS at 700. He's hitting okay so far this year. Here he gets a hanger over the middle of the plate, though, and takes this one to opposite field, and it will drive in Perez. Perez doesn't have great speed, so that's the only way to really drive him in. And we take the 4-2 lead here in the bottom of the first inning off of the bat of Cam Collier. Collier is a guy that I've been looking to really, take that next step as far as hitting, and he's done that so far in the last month or so. He started this year hitting .220. That brings up Ray Gonzalez, but that one will end this inning. And not surprisingly, actually maybe surprisingly, the rest of the game, no team scores another run. We win this one 4-2. We get 7 hits in this one. They get 3. But Archie Bradley gets his 21st save on the year. So he's at 21 saves, and we're halfway through June. So he should be an all-star. I mean, that is all-star-like numbers right there. And he gets the win right there, and he gets a save, I should say. But Tayfon Edwards gets the win versus the Rangers. So we are about, 2.5 months into the season, and I want to start, evaluating our AAA squad and really seeing who can play at the MLB level. Josh Brody has been developing in our system for 3 straight years now. He's had a 119 whip. He's pitching great. I want to see what he can do at the MLB level. I think we just need a slight boost to the rotation, maybe even just a spot starter who can help out, because Babe Miller, for some reason, is not pitching well. He's 2-9. He's only got 6 quality starts. He's got a 5.68 ERA and a 1.56 whip. I need something to help him along, and hopefully that can be Josh Brody. But we get our first unfortunate big injury so far here in season number 4. Ojo Taikan, a torn groin. It will take him out 1 to 2 months. And I just got done saying that he has been hitting the ball great this year, and he has been. .262. He's been all over the lineup, driving in runs. Very, very good defensively. So now we need to look at other options to replace him for the next 2 months. I highlighted that I'm probably going to be making a deadline trade, or maybe even before the deadline. We do have options. Bruno Reyes is here. He's at AAA. He was our third-round pick in season number 2's draft, but I'm not sure he's ready yet. I don't want to rush him up. He's a young player. So I decided to move Fred Scott back up. He was a kind of a guy that I said that when I drafted him last draft in season 3, I said will probably be a guy that will be the closest to being moved up to the MLB right away. He's got a very low floor, or a very low ceiling and a very high floor. This is kind of the best it's going to get from Fred Scott. But the one thing that definitely separates him is his 96 speed. Like, that speed is unreal. And I wanted to see if he could be, a leadoff hitter for us in spot situations. Maybe not the full-time leadoff hitter, but here he hits leadoff in this one since being moved up in his first game, and he hits one well to the left center gap. That gets all the way to the wall. With 96 speed, Fred Scott is one of the few players who can hit one to left center and start out with a leadoff triple. He's got amazing plate skills, but I do want to see some consistency. He's not the best fielder, but his 96 speed allows him to get to pretty much every ball. So if he can really come through for us, he could be a nice little, obviously bench bat, or a guy that can spot start and make a big impact. Now on to the bottom of the 7th inning. Fred Scott comes up for his 4th at-bat, and he will finish this game with only 1 hit out of 4 at-bats, but we do end up getting the win in this one. And after that injury, I'm very, very curious to see how quickly we will have to make a move before the deadline, because if Ojo Taikan is missing, we don't have many outfielders who are MLB ready to play right now. And Scott is one of those guys, and I think, maybe looking at the draft, I want to draft more guys like Fred Scott. So I find a couple of guys in the draft that are kind of, 3 or 4 year college players that may be MLB ready sooner rather than later. First is Peter Land. He has a very interesting skill set. His hits per nine is going to be amazing, and he is not ranked. So our scouts went out and found him, and he's going to be ranked about 99. He is like one of those guys that's going to be pretty much a high floor and a low ceiling guy. Another one of those guys is Billy Schneider. I really like him. He has excellent contact for his right. The vision is there, the discipline is there, but look at the fielding and the arm strength. I don't have an infielder like this right now who can hit at the plate as well as he can and also be an elite level fielder. So going into the draft episode, next episode, those are guys that we will be looking to draft probably late in the draft. So unfortunately, coming out of that game, we have our second major injury on the year. Back-to-back, 2 outfielders down. Keith Rice is done for the season. Torn Achilles tendon. He was acting as our DH, but he was a guy that could also play left field if we needed him to, but now we don't have him. He's done, a torn Achilles. He was hitting not too well this year, but he was still a guy that was a quality guy. Like, we could at least depend on him to be an everyday starter. But now we have 2 outfielders on the IL, and I think the move could be coming a lot sooner than what we initially expected. I thought we would be able to get away with waiting till July. Maybe we might have to go here in the month of June and get a player, but I'm going to see how our team responds first to 2 major injuries before making a huge move. But we do get through the final 2 weeks of the season. We end up beating St. Louis 2 of 3. We end up beating Chicago 2 of 3. In this one, we had a nice little 6-5 victory. And once again, another save from Archie Bradley. He's going to be an all-star for sure. We then played Milwaukee on the road, and this was 2 bad losses. They are 31-54, one of the worst teams in the NL, and we dropped 2 of 3. We do get a victory here in 15 innings. So in order to get 1 win on the road, it took 15 innings, but we do get a win 8-6. And then we end the month of June winning 1 of 2, splitting with the New York Mets 3-2. And this one, another save from Archie Bradley. What is new? But I think that, this kind of shows me these little close victories like this, that we probably do need that bat sooner rather than later, and I think that's what we're going to do to start next episode. We're going to make that move, and I think Akil Baddoo is right there at the top of the list, and especially since we just lost 2 outfielders. I think that kind of like pushes us over the edge there. Like I said, I'm not going to trade the farm. That's not exactly what I want to do here, but I want to trade a good player for another good player, or a good prospect and a decent MLB player for a good MLB player. That's kind of what I'm looking for. I'm not looking to acquire a big time star. I don't want to take on a bunch of money. That's probably not what we're looking to do. But I do want to be competitive, and if the right offer presents itself, maybe we do make a bigger move. But so far, our pitching has been pretty good. Our offense could be better, and that's kind of where we stand. I think next episode, before the draft day or maybe just after the draft, we make a move. Like, I think we just need it right now. But our pitching is holding us up right now. Our offense has been okay. And I think we just need to do something to just get one more piece here in the outfield, especially with these injuries. So that's going to do it. Next episode will be the draft. So I'm excited for that. And this will be the first draft where we're not looking for, obviously, like the cornerstone pieces of the rebuild. We're just drafting for best player available and seeing what happens. So we'll see. This draft is very, very interesting. So I hope you guys will enjoy it. Hit subscribe, hit that like button. Let me know who you guys think we should maybe acquire at the deadline. Stay tuned. Let's get it. Let's go.